Alright, today we're going to be talking about the future of Windows 12. For a long time we assumed that as long as our computer worked well we could use it without worry, but everything we're seeing about upcoming Windows versions indicates this era is coming to an end. Each new leak and announcement suggests many devices will be left behind, even relatively recent models. Most concerning is we're not talking about old machines, but devices many still use daily for study, work or gaming. Whether our PC stays usable no longer depends just on performance, but on the type of hardware it has. We saw this when Windows 11 excluded capable processors, and now it's happening again with Windows 12 or its equivalent, Windows 11 26H1. All signs indicate that the system will prioritize very specific components with functions mainly related to artificial intelligence and security presented as essential. Graphics cards are a clear example. While many still offer excellent performance in games or demanding tasks, they would be sidelined for not including dedicated units for AI processing. Common models like the RX 6600 and 6650 XT, as well as Intel's entry-level GPUs, such as the A380 or A580, lack this acceleration capability. The same applies to entire NVIDIA series, like GTX or GT, which still perform very well but would be deemed insufficient for not integrating these specialized cores. The consequence would be that even though they continue to function perfectly on a technical level, the system would treat them as if they were outdated technology. This pattern repeats in processor leaks, where the leaks suggest Windows will only favor CPUs with integrated NPUs. This would effectively exclude almost the entire AM4 socket ecosystem and popular models like the Ryzen 5 3600 or 5600. Intel faces a similar situation where any CPU before the LGA 1700 socket would receive less support and might lose direct compatibility. This includes processors recently considered high-end like the i7 or i9 models. Together, this creates a scenario where millions of users would face progressive limitations, updates that fail to install, missing features, or installers that block installations citing incompatibility. Situations like this have happened before, for example, when support for traditional BIOS was abandoned, or the transition to SSDs was forced with the promise of better experience, though often the real goal was simply to drive new sales. This idea keeps appearing in discussions and leaks, supported by the precedent of software that once sold as a one-time purchase now requires ongoing subscription payments. If implemented, we could end up in a situation where we couldn't use our own system without paying a regular fee, even though we already own the hardware. The combination of locked hardware and mandatory subscription payments would turn any PC into a limited device, where actual computing power becomes secondary to the requirements imposed by the operating system. This scenario forces us to choose between two paths: staying on older Windows versions, knowing they'll be less protected and more vulnerable, or considering different operating systems. Alternatives like Linux allow using computers of any age without activation restrictions or arbitrary compatibility issues. Its distributions can be adjusted for different uses, from basic tasks to editing and some games, all free and with complete user control. Technology's future seems to be moving more toward obligation than utility, and each step taken by the world's most used operating system reinforces this idea. That's why it's important to carefully analyze these decisions and consider which path we want to take as users, especially when many computers we use in our region work perfectly and could still serve for many more years. So anyway, tell me what you think about this Windows 12 version, which obviously isn't confirmed yet, but rumors are already spreading about requiring compatible equipment with built-in AI in your computer, which will clearly limit access to it.